Down south, hunting is more than a pastime. It's a tradition. Whether you're tucked into a pine thicket for whitetail or chasing hogs through the bottoms, Nosler Ammo offers the kind of reliable, knockdown power that earns respect season after season. Trust the name that's built a reputation on performance. Trust Nosler.
Welcome to the Southern U Podcast, brought to you by Darden Archery on the OKest Podcast Network, with your co-host Matt Brock, Jeremy Ferguson, and Taylor McMurtry. If you're looking for all things land-related in the Southeast, you came to the right place. Whether it's real estate, habitat, wildlife, or just being outdoors, this is the place for you. Welcome to the Southern U. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Southern News Podcast for 2026. Hope you guys are doing good. We're kicking off 2026 talking about everybody's favorite topic if you're a whitetail hunter. Everybody except for Matt.
Yeah.
Because Matt hates it.
Hot take!
Yeah, that is a hot take. Sorry. I should probably get...
Hot take. I repeat, we have a hot take alert.
That's for you, Matt.
Yeah, that's for you, Matt, since you're not here. Matt hates the rut. He hates hunting the rut.
That's right. And got to go through our formal introductions here. Y'all know me. I'm Taylor, just a random marketing guy. But to my immediate left here, we have the Ferg.
Some call him a real estate broker. Some call him a wildlife biologist. Some simply refer to him as the Ferg. Welcome to the show, the real estate, cattle, and habitat aficionado, Jeremy Ferguson.
Yeah. What's up, everybody?
Uncle Harold. We got more.
That's right. Oh, and
man.
Yep. And because we had to knock out a couple episodes in the same day, Matt and Bray are not with us.
Yep.
I think they, talked about it on the last episode.
Matt's burning in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're home.
Yeah, I guess they are back.
They're home now, but they were in the Berg.
That's right.
Got some great photos.
Yep. And we had a special guest on last episode, and we liked him so much, we said, why don't you stick around? We'll do another one.
Hey, that didn't run me away.
Hey, Mr. Cody Green is joining us again, and we're going to talk about the rut. And I don't,
specifically in the South,
in the
dead-gum Northerners.
Yes. If you are a Midwestern guy, Northeast guy, you're going to be like, what are you talking about, man? That was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Not for us. Down
moved
here.
on.
It's yet to come.
And
some of it's gone, some of it's coming.
Yeah, for real. Alabama's crazy.
Yeah.
But I did want to point out, before we jump in and everything, we want to talk about this one for obviously a couple reasons. This is kind of the time for it. Things are starting to really ramp up in our neck of the woods. But this previously, I think it was like the, fourth, fifth episode we ever did on this podcast, and it was Southern Rut, and it was one of the most successful, I guess, or the most listened to, downloaded episodes that we've ever done. And I think it's because it's such a diverse topic, depending on who you talk to and where you live, where you hunt. One guy will say, man, the rut's wide open, and his neighbor who's 5 miles down the road's like, I ain't seen a deer in 2 weeks. It's like, well, that is the
Alabama
rut map in Alabama for you. And parts of Georgia have already, and Tennessee have already been there and done that, and it's kind of winding down. And but here in our neck of the woods and in Mississippi and even parts of Florida, stuff like that, it's not happened yet. So it's just very, very interesting, especially when when I've tried to explain this to people who are who primarily hunt the Midwest or even live in the Midwest, trying to explain how divided and how broken up if you've ever pulled up, you guys should do it. Like, Google the Alabama rut map and just look
crazy.
at it. It's like a watercolor or something.
Yeah.
It's
It's just like a bunch of kids took a bunch of paintball guns with different colored paintballs.
It is
just shot
crazy. And so, anyways, we're just going to spend some time kind of jumping back into that episode and maybe expounding on that a little bit and seeing what these guys they're supposed to be pretty smart fellers. They might just be fart smellers.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
They're supposed to know about this stuff.
The latter.
Especially after all that pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
Yeah, y'all, listen, y'all pray for Jeremy.
Yeah, he's in a cinnamon coma.
He may just go ahead and just tip over here in a minute for diabetic
Turn
coma.
into the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah.
Look, y'all, I don't eat stuff like that anymore because, a year and a half ago, I was 285-ish, 290.
Really? That is
Yes,
hard
sir.
to believe.
And I just changed my eating habits and whatnot, and down to 225-ish. Really
on.
would like to lose more than that.
Way to go, Gerald. Well, I need to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, but yeah, you hit one of my weaknesses. I have always been a devourer of cinnamon rolls. I don't know what it is.
Connoisseur of the cinnamon
Yes,
rolls.
sir. It's a weakness. I try not to keep them around anywhere in close access. It's just, I cinnamon, brown sugar, or sugar together, man. Yeah, what you talking about?
Yep, I agree.
I have noticed there's been a cutback on some products that are usually around the cabin at camp there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know, he's been letting me down there.
We're supposed to be letting loose at camp.
No.
Jeremy. We're supposed to be having fun at camp,
Yeah,
man.
he buys packs of Reese cups,
Yeah.
not the bags anymore.
Hey, that's
That's right.
portion control.
But hey, that's
It
helping
is.
everybody. I mean,
It
that's
is.
right, so
That's right.
the problem is if I go, I bring some, so does he, and
Now we've got just as many.
Hey, that's what it's all about, though. It's not.
yeah.
I had somebody. I'll tell you what. We're going to do shout outs here in a minute. Shout out Trace Kennedy, one of my youth pastor buddies from the Gardendale area, and he also owns a CrossFit gym. And I'm not a CrossFit guy, never have been, but he's pretty up and up on the nutrition and health and wellness and those sort of things. And his view on diet and just kind of what you're putting in your body is like, it's not about that you can never have whatever, fill in the blank. I can't ever have another carb as long as I live or something like that. It's eat more good stuff and just eat less bad stuff.
Right.
It's not that you are never going to eat a piece of bread as long as you live again, or whatever. Never going to have a cinnamon roll the rest of your life.
And that's kind of what I found.
Eat the good stuff when you can and more of it and eat less of the bad stuff.
Well, Jeremy been knowing each other our whole lives pretty much. It's like, hey, I eat good stuff.
Yep.
My problem has always been portion control.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we were raised. You eat everything on your plate.
Yes,
and
it.
I have no problem going and doing it twice.
Right.
I'm good with it.
Yep.
I've seen me do it, and I'll do it again.
Man, it's and that's what I found, and I started that journey not so much on a weight loss, even though it was a very good byproduct. Man, I was having terrible stomach issues and just couldn't figure it out. And I guess here's one of my shout outs. Dr. Jubal,
Hey.
chiropractor here in town.
That's right.
I was just kind of talking to Jubal a little bit about my back hurting so bad. And I had a significant back injury back in 2013, fell and broke a vertebrae and ruptured discs and bruised spinal, whole 9 yards. So it was rough, but putting that extra weight on was really causing me a problem. And he said, man, just start eliminating things or just start eating one thing, an elimination diet. And I was like, okay, well, what do you mean? He said, well, pick one thing that you feel like you could eat every day. And I said, okay, yeah, I got that. And he said, well, what is it?
Steak.
And the most expensive thing that you can think of, a friggin', beef or steak. By the way, steak prices, if you don't know, we're still through the friggin' roof.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But was beef. And I was like, okay, well, I have a pretty steady supply of beef at the house in the pasture that can go into the freezer. So I started eating primarily just meat. Started out probably for a couple of weeks eating nothing but a ribeye or a filet a night. And that was it. Nothing else. And after a couple of weeks, my stomach problem started to kind of slow down. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So I have found that a lot of the carbs and starches that I were eating were causing me to have problems. So I haven't put them back in my diet until Taylor brought the freaking cinnamon rolls out.
Yeah. They were delicious, though.
They were.
Yep.
I will pay for it.
I forgot that I didn't even think about this, but my wife made homemade Christmas cookies. And so whenever we got up here, she texted me and was like, did they try the Christmas cookies? And I was like, no, I think they knocked out all the cinnamon butts or whatever.
Oh, so they didn't.
Well,
okay, let's make this clear. They is sitting right over there.
Yeah, they is sitting firmly in this chair.
Because I had already had those garlic knots, and I was like, man, I got to stop with the bread here.
No, I had some too, for sure.
Type 2.
That's funny. But anyways, yeah, so good stuff. And Cody, I don't know if we did this on the last one. Did you want to shout out anybody? We probably should.
Not really. I'm not social enough, I guess, to shout out anybody.
Well, I'm not.
I guess
either,
I do.
do
Hey, the Marshall County Cancer Center.
There you
Those don't. I mean, is that where your dad?
No, he went to Huntsville.
Okay, I mean, they are. Mom recently found out my mother has got cancer, and we went for her first treatment yesterday, and man, those are some great people.
That's cool.
I mean they are really some great people.
Good to hear.
And luckily, we do have some family that works there. So yeah. So they
even better.
Yeah. So it's a great place.
No doubt.
I got another shout out, just kind of off topic, but a lot of our listeners probably don't know hiding their hair who Bravo Company Machine is, but I'm a gun guy. My dumb self decided to over torque a screw on an AR here a while back, and reached out to them. Simple email, said, "Hey, I flubbed up. I need a new set of bolts and whatnot. Put my handguard back on my AR, and hey, no questions asked. Had them show up in the mail. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Strong customer service.
And which I said it, I think, on a couple episodes ago. But I shot this year, and I guess the last two or 3 years, I've shot Magnus, just one-piece broadheads, and I told them on the phone, I'm like, I had no complaints about the performance of the broadheads. They did a great job.
Right.
Passed through, recovered every animal I've shot. Like I'm not complaining about anything. I've just boogered some of them up. Like, they've gone through and smacked into some rocks and stuff like that. Hunting up here, the terrain that we hunt is kind of rocky. And
say it ain't so.
Yeah, terrible. And so, anyways, they were like, it's a no questions asked. We don't care warranty. Like, send us some pictures of what they look like. I'm like, well, do you want me to send them back to you? Nope. Keep them. If they are able to be practiced with, they're not that mangled.
Sure.
Then just keep them and use them as practice heads or something. Okay. So, anyways, they sent 3 brand spanking new broadheads. So
awesome.
Pretty
cool. We were talking about the other day. Has anybody shouted out? This is on the behalf of the absent Matt Vortex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all did do that?
We did. Yeah.
Man, what an awesome story that was.
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends on who you ask. He didn't think.
Well, we thought the story was awesome.
Yeah.
We're talking about just the.
Right.
There's no question if that was on video, it would be relived on every episode that we had. There would be a little.
Oh, it'd be the intro.
Yes, a little snippet of him busting his butt on his steps.
It would be in the intro for sure.
But yeah, hey, look, he sent them. He had to send the scope in, but send it in. He got a new scope, no questions asked.
That's awesome.
After falling on his butt on top of the scope and bending the tube.
Can't beat that, man. Yeah. Can't beat it.
One of these days, I'm going to get off my hiney and call Kaylee's, see what they're going to do about my scope, maybe.
I know what they're going to do. Will you buy a nutter, please?
I don't know.
In their accent.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe they might let me at least ship it to them and fix it. I don't know.
They might. I don't know. I hadn't dealt with them.
Hadn't either. Haven't needed to.
No.
Well, speaking of bows and guns and scopes and such, you
Kaboom.
you use all of those during the rut. Right?
Yep.
So, like I said earlier, it was one of the most downloaded and streamed episodes that we ever did, and so I just think it'd be cool for us to maybe jump back in and see kind of what else we can talk about on that specific topic, because it's one of those things that, because it's so diverse and it's so different in so many different parts of the state and across the Southeast, what may be working for one guy might not work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, timings, everything's site specific. Strategies may change. You guys in the comments will make sure that you let us know if we put something out there and you go, you can't kill deer in thickets, you idiot.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
What's your experience?
Yes. So,
Yeah, really. And we'll rehash a lot of things that we talked about, even from the last episode, because we are in the throes of the rut
right.
over where we hunt.
Yep.
So I mean, we're talking about what's happened fresh in our minds the last few days.
And it's like West Central Alabama.
Yeah.
Right, so just for clarity.
That's right. And hey, we drive through a county headed over there that's already had the rut. It's already over.
Right.
So, and then here where we live, it's still nearly a month out.
Yeah.
So,
And all right, before we jump into some of these other questions I've got here, I want to talk to you guys, because I feel like you would probably have a better sense of why that is, maybe than what most would. Why is Alabama's rut map so insane? Why is it so broken up? I know that there was restocking efforts, and we're all pretty much familiar with that, but
that's it.
Is that the only reason?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. You've got deer from different parts of the country, even different subspecies of deer residing in the same, close locations. Some counties will have, 2, maybe 3. I had somebody on Facebook say that, one county had 7 different subspecies from what we can tell going back through records. And I think Matt or Bray, or maybe both of them, have full records that they had at the state. I didn't have full records, but I had a lot of it. To our knowledge, I don't think there was any county that had more than 2 or 3 subspecies, that came from different parts of the country. But it all boils down to that. Some portions of the state were repopulated with deer from the Stimson area down southwest Alabama, where there was always deer, and that's where you get some of your later rut. That's
February.
Yeah,
January.
In amongst some of your early rut areas, and our earliest rut is going to be the Bankhead influenced deer, which was Iron Mountain, Michigan deer, put there. And then over on the Chattahoochee, up and down the Georgia line, we have some early season rut there, but that's Georgia influence.
Yeah, spill over from Georgia, yeah.
Something that I have not thought about, I don't think, until right at this very moment. I'm going to ask you guys, not trying to put you on the spot, just an opinion, doesn't have to be factual, but so you have deer that are brought in from somewhere else that are relocated here. Hopefully they breed and reestablish a population.
Yep.
What if, I just want to give you a scenario. You have buck that's from Iron Mountain, Michigan, and that buck breeds a native Alabama doe. Assuming if its offspring is a doe, where will its estrus, is it going to line up more with Iron Michigan blood, like earlier rut, or is that off, if it's a doe, that offspring going to take more of the traditional late rut? Is that, or is there a way to know that?
I think at that point it would probably be more of a conditional thing.
I would expect so, but I would a lot of the characteristics, even more so than the buck. A lot of the characteristics are carried by the the doe.
Yeah.
But that's a good question where we say we're going to say we don't know things.
Yeah.
That's a question I don't. I would expect it to follow more in line with what the doe is, but I don't know the answer to that.
What it would come down to essentially would be, okay, you have said doe. It's going to come out to average out to what are the other does around them. What are they? Because females of all mammalian species tend to, they come in cycle,
Sync up.
So it would probably become more of a conditional thing, like where they are and the other females in the area as to when they're going to come into estrus, because to define what the rut is, it's when the females come into estrus and receptive to breeding. So I think that would be the answer, but anybody would contest to how hard that would be to research that.
Well, I mean, I guess
it would be almost impossible.
Right. Well, and I guess and maybe you could figure that out in like a captive situation or something like that. But I'm just.
But you're never going to get you control the environment there with what species, or what rut timing they have.
Yeah.
Now, if you threw them in an enclosure and you had a bunch of different ones, and then you could trace back paternity,
sure,
then you might get a little closer. But that would be an undertaking there.
Yeah. I mean,
that's an amazing question.
And,
I mean,
I've
another
never
thing
thought about
is
it until now.
Deer are known for multiple paternity.
Yeah.
So you throw that in there, and you've got a pretty
in a wild, and that's the whole deal, like the whole genetic thing in a wild herd deer. It's like you don't know.
No, we've
because
talked about that.
we're not researching wild deer. When the moment you define, okay, this is what we're researching. There are wild deer, research that goes on, but that's one that would.
That'd be an undertaking.
Yeah,
but like the Iron Mountain deer there in the Bankhead area, that was a fairly decent number of deer that were turned out, both bucks and does, and they have retained that island population over there. And you haven't seen a for lack of better terms, a muddying of the waters.
Yeah.
You've got a pretty defined area where, man, the rut's just like it would be in Iron Mountain, and then once you get outside of that, you're back to where native deer were, or other restockings took place.
Right.
That herd's pretty much saturated with the gene that says we evolved in this photo period for it to be now, and not a month from now.
And from my recollection, I wish Matt was here, but I'm pretty sure that I am right, that Mississippi State did a DNA study on a lot of the restocking across the southeast, and the Iron Mountain population was the only population that had been restocked that really kept its lineage, together there as a island population.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive I'm right about that.
Well, I mean,
but, that which is unique. Everywhere else it just kind of came out into the wash.
Well, that's kind of what I was.
But they're so different.
Yeah.
It is. That's anecdotal to me. That's just me trying to use some logic. Is you've got a northern deer, a very, very northern deer, surrounded by southern deer. I can see where that wouldn't bleed over as much as it would. Hey, we rut in December around Christmas. Oh, we rut in late January.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what I was getting at. Is like that these deer that have been transplanted here, for lack of a better term, like they've had to have bred with native deer.
Yeah.
They've
Oh,
had
yeah.
to.
Absolutely.
So, but yet, like you said, and that estrus period in Bankhead is like really well defined. Like it's stayed that way, and it has been since they've been here.
Yep.
I don't know that you can really say that anywhere else.
Well,
you know?
and the reason I say that, and you'll know this, I mean, from your dad's days, y'all were inseminating does that were, southern deer with, crossbacks of different genetics from, I don't know if they were Texas or northern or whatever, but the southern deer, they came into estrus, even the doe fawns that you guys were having, well, they came into estrus with the deer that they came from.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they were inseminated with.
Right.
Of course, now you've got all these crossbacks that you're mixing Texas crossback with, northern genetic, and so then it gets really convoluted.
Right.
But
very.
from my recollection and all that, those deer, were really kind of holding true, kind of like what Cody said, was to what the does were doing there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because it's so dynamic with what a wild population is going to do, and where that family group of does is at compared to others on these fine lines, where these deer interbreeding and stuff. And the answer is somewhere along the line of we really don't know.
Yeah, and make no mistake. If she's in estrus, he gonna breed it.
Oh, for sure.
It don't matter when it is.
Yeah.
There's you're kind of taught in colleges. When we're starting out, breeding season, hard antler to antler drop. It'll extend outside of that. They will breed as long as they're in estrus. Yeah. Now testosterone levels are definitely lower and things like that, but as long as she comes in estrus, there's going to be some kind of boy try to get with it.
Most likely, yes. And that's the whole topic here is that we'd been talking a minute ago. It's a figment of your imagination. There is no such thing as the rut.
Hot take.
Oh, hold on a second.
No, it's not. It's non-existent. There is a breeding season, and in Alabama, it depends on very specific.
I said it depends.
It
depends on where you are, and the rut is what you see and perceive to be the rut, which is actually breeding activity.
Increased breeding activity. Yeah.
And that can happen
anytime.
It's just so happens certain parts of the state.
That just happens to be the peak.
Certain times of the
right,
year,
man.
you see more of it.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
And always,
That's it.
that growing up hunting, it's like, oh, well, the rut's going to kick in when it cools off.
Nah.
Well, what you see is more sign because it cooled down and the deer are not as lethargic, so they're moving more.
That's right.
Well,
That's what you see.
That leads into the next thing that we're going to talk about. What triggers estrus? Because there's a million different, like,
it's the moon, man.
Yeah, like there's Grandpa's old sayings. There's the weather. Is it the moon? Is it the?
It's got to
whatever.
rain. Then
Like,
it's got to be the second full moon and not November.
And it's got to be a leap year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's just photo period.
Yeah.
And so
Length of daylight.
there you go. I was about to say, for those of us who are not smart, define
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah. Length of daylight. So,
Yeah.
it triggers, and a photo period it's very well known, very well documented. Every day of the year, from year to year, is about the exact same, given what maybe a millisecond or two or half second.
Right.
There's a little bit of difference, but it's the same. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why deer come into estrus the same time within a couple of days every year.
Right.
People can argue with us all they want.
Yeah. Well, and it's extended breeding season where your population is completely jacked up and out of whack. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you're getting those that are going through cycle after cycle that may not be getting bred.
That's right.
That can start throwing things off.
It can.
In certain places.
But there was a few benefits, but one of the benefits of working with the state is we put our hands on, hey, excuse me, man, that Seminole fighting back, y'all.
Yee.
Yeah. We got to put our hands on a tremendous number of pregnant does. Mm-hmm. And these does were dead, y'all. Yeah, we shot pregnant does. Don't get me on that.
Yes.
Shoot them early season, late season. It's no different, y'all. Come on.
I can argue that.
But we put our hands on a tremendous number of pregnant does. We were pulling fetuses and aging these things. And year in, year out, my entire history with the state, we would go back to properties, and then once we had a good backlog of information that we were able to look at, several years in a row, that confirmed, that's where the rut map come from, that we could confirm these breeding dates, we'd move to other areas if we didn't have the manpower to hit them all. Mm-hmm. And always, without exception, period, without exception, they were within about a 48-hour period.
Yep. So you're saying whatever, December the 15th, okay? Mm-hmm. And then this time in next year,
December the 15th.
December the 15th,
maybe
give or take.
Maybe 16th, 17th, maybe 12th or 13th.
Yeah, say give or take.
But you got about a 5-day window right there that's when those deer were coming in. That was their peak, okay? Yes. And that we were working with averages. Yep. So
then I think don't let that be misconstrued. This
right
is averages.
We're working with averages.
They didn't
here.
kill all the deer,
right?
And check them all. But on average, this is what's happening.
On average, roughly a couple of day window either side of that day.
Yeah.
And we would even look at it from a pattern of some weather events, from year to year. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Didn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm. They're going to breed.
Yep.
Okay, so we've established what the rut is, when it happens, what causes it to happen, say it that way. Now let's talk about perceived activity.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I know this is the part that really sets people off and this triggers everybody on our social accounts.
This is why we love what we do.
Yes, but
because we right and you wrong. I'm just kidding.
No, but I see what people are getting at, because I've been the guy who's hunting the mountains of Jackson County, and you see nothing. It is a ghost town until January the 18th. Or something like that. And then it's like, hey, there's deer out here. Holy crap, man. Yeah. They're actually running around. And
it's awesome you said that date. I don't know. Several of the nicer bucks I've killed on public land, January 18th.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's
it's that date.
But it's just like, and so you'll have a lot of people that are in the camp of like, we needed, this is in Alabama for you guys listening, we needed that February extension. We needed it because our deer they're not in estrus. They're not doing anything. They're not out here. Like if we don't get to hunt in February, we're not going to get to experience hunting deer in the rut.
Yeah.
And so.
And some of those people were right.
Absolutely. That's what I was getting.
Some of them were not.
Right. And so I get it, because I've been up there and been so frustrated of like, you walk around up there during turkey season and there's scrapes the size of that table right there. And it's like, what is happening? Why can't, like, these deer just.
See, we had property in Jackson County for years where my dad grew up. I had a family farm there. I can argue without a doubt we didn't need February in our part of Jackson County, but there were certain parts that did. And that's what makes managing our state's hunting seasons for the DCNR so tough.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the toughest state there is.
No, there's no
Hands
question.
down.
Yeah.
When
I
it
mean,
comes to that, no question.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm getting at is perceived activity of, hey, bucks are running crazy and does are hot and they're dragging does with them and all that sort of stuff. What changes the perception there? Is it strictly weather? Is it pressure? Is it all of it? Is there something? Is it?
It's all
It's
of
everything.
it. Weather's got a lot to do with it as far as the time that a deer is going to spend on its feet chasing, especially, out in the open. But, I mean, anybody can tell you go to the Midwest. I was in Kansas for the rut this year. It was it averaged in the mid-60s for the 2.5 weeks I was there.
Yeah.
Activity was very, very slow during daylight hours.
Right.
The last 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes, it's like it always is. But you get in the later hour mornings, good Lord, I can't talk.
Later hour mornings.
Yeah, later hours in the morning and, those late evening hours, those bucks, they were up, they were chasing, but they do slow down a little bit during the heat because it's tough on them. Yeah. I mean, it's tough on their bodies.
That's the thing with deer, and a lot of people have got to understand, and being of what I was growing up, I've hunted around all sorts of different kind of people and these, all sayings and whatever. And now we know, deer, like, when it's hot, they've been spending the summer getting fat. They've put on their winter coat. Deer, like human beings, when they get uncomfortable, they get.
It's time to go lay down.
I'm not going to get up and go outside and run around when it's 110 degrees with a sweater on. I mean, and essentially that's what we're looking at. I mean, when it's 60, 70 degrees,
the daylight activity just
slows. I mean, it don't mean they're not breeding.
Right.
They might be doing it at night, but hunter activity might slow down because guess what? I'm not seeing that many deer. And we got a cold front with a rut kicked up. No,
just the daylight activity.
You started seeing more deer moving because hey, it's crisp. If we feel better, we're going to get out and make a little run here at it, maybe do some feeding and mixed in with the breeding. So,
and then especially here in Alabama, but especially southern states where there's seem to be a lot more pressure because of hunting leases and the way we structure things in the South with length of hunting season and whatnot. But pressure does play a role. I mean, deer, hunting pressure on deer doesn't change the fact that they're breeding. They're just not doing it where you're hunting.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is guys going and sitting on food plots or sitting in big open areas that don't have a lot of cover where deer feel safe. If you want to see a lot of deer activity in the South during the rut, you need to see a lot of acres that is cover for a whitetail, but that you can see into. Clear cuts, unkept fields, vegetation that is, below shoulder high, preferably chest high to waist high, where deer feel safe, but you can still see into from an elevated position. You're going to see deer.
Yeah.
Perfect example, over there where we're hunting. Now, we mentioned in the last episode of how much pressure we were getting from our neighbors and hearing all the shots. Because of a particular deer that I'm trying to kill, I was hanging out in a really thick spot where there's a little food plot. And it's really narrow, and deer just, traditionally just cross it. It's what they do. And I'm trying to catch those deer crossing. I can't see much. I can see a little bit in the woods, but not a whole lot. Cody's on the other side of the farm sitting on a power line where he can see 3/4 of a mile in one direction and 3/4 of a mile in the other direction. It's a transmission line, so it's 100 yards wide. He saw 15 deer, and I saw one.
Right.
I mean, look, it's just it was a. If I didn't understand what I was looking at, I'd be like, man, deer ain't doing anything.
Right.
Well, and Cody's seeing the exact opposite because he's hunting the proper thing during that time of year, that time frame, to catch deer on their feet. And look, that power line on that place, it's exactly what I'm referring to. It's got plume grass in it that's head high throughout, but it's primarily waist high weeds. So it's deer feel safe. If you're standing on the ground, you're not going to see them. But from an elevated position, you can see them just fine.
Right.
Yeah, and that's another testament to sitting on a green field, which in Alabama might be, well, I know where you are, obviously, but that probably would be what you would think the average green patch or green field in Alabama would be. And that's just a testament, when you're there hunting it and it got a little warm for a few days.
Nothing.
And you would swore, well, they're not rutting. They're not doing anything over here. It's all relative to where you are at that given time during the phases of the rut. And, like I said, you might have went a quarter mile the other direction and seen the same thing or seen something different.
Yep.
And it's all dependent on where you are and what type of woods or lack thereof you're hunting in.
But pressure does play a big role, and Matt has gotten a lot of flack for one of the little clips saying, he's not really going to hunt a deer, he's going to kill a deer. Well, the fact remains he hunts on a pretty unpressured place, because I hunt there as well. Same lease together. And we really, really focus on taking care of that place, not overpressuring it. And he waits till the conditions are perfect.
Right.
And he goes in, and most of the time he's successful. Look, he don't kill a deer every time he goes and sits in the woods, but he goes and sits on those highest percentage days so that he knows he can get in and out of the woods without being detected. Or stands a greater chance of that. Deer, they got feet, they can walk. But he grew up there. He understands those deer's patterns. He understands that when these trees are feeding, because of where it is, he can hunt that with a south wind. He can get in and out.
Yeah, he's done it for years.
Yeah, he's been able to replicate that.
Yeah.
And these people that's giving him a hard time don't hunt the same way he does.
Well,
they don't have that much history with a piece of place,
right.
And most of them probably are hunting pressured deer.
Yeah,
he's not,
Well,
and he'll be the first to tell you that. But these people aren't listening to the entire clip.
He's very blessed in the way he gets to hunt and everything, and which I can attest to. But I remember, what I have dug through, and he got a lot of flack for. You're going to kill a mature buck in thick spots. Well, I'll counter that for you, Matt. I love you. Hey, look, it's not necessarily a thick spot. It's not what he meant. I'll say this: it's where a mature deer feels comfortable.
Yes.
That's right.
And you said it earlier.
Happen to be over there. It's thick spots.
Right. and it don't have to be a thick, well, in general, but it could be anywhere, Hey,
And Matt,
those of you out there know what I'm talking about. A golf course, it don't necessarily have to be thick. They might be out there breeding on the golf course because they know
there ain't nothing there.
Ain't nothing happening here, baby. Yep. It's and that's where I've had success.
on golf course?
Through my, at shooting deer, not playing golf.
Okay.
I'm not shooting deer, but the places where deer
Feel safe.
Yes.
Yep.
And that can be lots of places.
Yeah. And something we didn't quantify there is I know Matt well enough, and I know me well enough, and you well enough. We would consider that power line and some of these clear cuts as thick cover because it's thick cover for a deer,
Yes.
not what you're using your eyes and go, man, that's thick.
Yeah,
cover.
we're not talking about necessarily a privet patch that
Right.
you can't walk through. with
thick cover to a whitetail is
right.
not thick cover to a human.
Right.
Yeah.
It's where they feel safe. Could be a swag in a pasture that
Out in the Midwest, it's laying down in the middle of an open plowed field
where they can
because
see
they can see
miles.
and there's no rifle season.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't get shot at from 300 yards, 400 yards.
They do here.
Yes, sir. A deer out in the middle of a plowed field here, he ain't gonna make it to the other side
No.
Not usually, no.
if they
But-
shoot.
And one of the things that I would say too is a lot of the listeners and maybe new folks that have just kind of discovered us through social or whatever. A lot of the comments we're getting, especially on that clip about Matt going, "I'm going to go kill a deer,"
Yep.
whatever. Is like, yeah, let's go try that on public. Well, like I realize most of you or some of you may not know what we are about or what this podcast and what Southern U was made for, but it's management, it's land stuff,
Private
land
management.
Yes, and so nothing wrong with public land. It's just not what it's not what our specialty is, not what
No.
we're about. And so, having said that, it's like sometimes we'll make a general statement because we feel like we're talking to the audience that's been with us from the get-go.
That's
and they
right.
know what we're about. And in reality, half of you may not. You know what I mean? Half of you may have just shown up, 2
And
weeks
that's
ago.
fine.
Right.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, all comments matter. All comments boost. So
Oh, man, yeah.
bring it
Go
on.
ahead.
But and then there's me in contrast, which just on a personal level, I mean I do both. I'd love to hunt public land. We touched on that earlier, and learn talking about just deer hunting in general, be it on private or public land. If you can find where deer are comfortable, especially during the rut, you can be successful
Yeah, anywhere. That's right.
anywhere. But it's not easy.
No.
It takes. I mean, it can be
Right.
depending on where you are. But generally in the southeast Alabama and areas that get pressured a lot, you can still go and be successful. It's going to take some thinking on your behalf and probably
And some boot leather.
yeah, wearing some rubber off the bottom of those old soles there to figure out exactly what's going on, and don't overlook the obvious.
Oh, that's right.
And that's what
We've
happens
talked about
so
that.
much. I'm sure you have, but it's just
Well, you remember that when we were hunting Kentucky on public land several years ago, and that young boy shot that deer with a rifle.
oh yeah, absolutely,
he
man!
was
What a deer! That's
right in the
unbelievable.
back of an open field right off side of the road.
Yeah.
And people were seeing this deer, and Cody was hunting in there back deeper on this deer. And, it was a youth hunt. So, we ran into these folks, and they said, hey, we're going to try to set up here because where it is, there's this buck. And we're like, oh, yeah, he's in there.
Right.
But he was laying up close to a parking area
Yep.
because everybody's just walking by him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the guys out there that do the public stuff, they chime in all about that kind of stuff all the time. But that's just another example of hunting deer in general, but especially in the rut. If you want to be successful and kill the most mature, biggest deer that are on the landscape, like Matt said, they're going to be in the thickest stuff or the most comfortable places, tending a doe. Because,
That's right.
I mean, you and I both can attest to right now what's been going on over there.
Oh, yeah.
Where we've been. It's like, hey, man, there's your deer. And they just, boom, they're gone.
Yep.
Then I see 3, 4, 5, 2, 3-year-old bucks a day and yearlings. They're just after does everywhere. Where are those 4, 5, and 6-year-old deer at?
They with a doe.
They're with a doe. There's no
And
argument
you can
about
you
it.
can pick up on these cues because the deer are giving them to you. If you've got a buck during the rut on camera, and he's there, he's gone for 2 days, 2.5 days, 3 days.
Yep.
He's with a doe. Yeah. Okay. You can, and we use this, and we've been successful with it, and then we miss deer with it too. But if we know on camera, this is where you rely on cameras too much. Like, hey, he was there. We know he hadn't been there today, and you go in there and look. Well, he's not there the next day. That's 2 days. You're like, okay, so chances are in the next day and a half,
especially if
he's going to be back right there looking for another doe.
Especially if you got a little cold weather, a little bit of change in the atmosphere, something happening in that time frame. You better be there, because
and see that's where I consider myself a weekend warrior. I work too much. I'm too busy. I don't live where I hunt, so I don't get to take advantage of those things. But if you have a job flexible enough that you can take advantage of that, or you live where you hunt, those are the cues that you need to pay attention to. Right. And people can get on me for saying this, but be a little more like Matt. Pick up on those cues. Start paying attention to them year in, year out, and see if you can't figure out a pattern to how these deer are behaving. You're going to get some history with some of these bucks that you may know those bucks from 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. When you've got that much history with an individual, they're a lot easier to figure out. Right. Now they're still a wild animal. They can jerk your pants down, okay? But that's why Matt said what he said. Yeah. He's got history with these deer. Yeah, he gets them on camera. Some of them on cell camera. Some of them not on cell camera. But he's hunted there his entire life. Yeah. Yep. People that have the luxury of being on the same property their entire life, you pay attention to what they do. Right. Because they're going to go kill deer. Yep. Right.
Yeah, and that don't need to be discounted, period. He's fortunate. And there's
absolutely.
There's tons of people out there that are like that, and I guess there's a lot of people out there that like that aren't that successful.
That's right.
Because you don't pay attention to those things.
That's right.
And that's and that's kudos to him. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and I mean,
and he's not the only one. I know several guys that have killed just as good and far more deer than Matt has. They're a little older than him. But the things that they have in common are they take incredible notes about every time they go to the woods. They're writing down what the weather was, wind, temperature, barometric pressure, how many deer they saw, little notes of where the deer came from, what they were feeding on. And they do that every time they go to the woods. Right. And if you a lot of people look at that and go, "Man, hunting's supposed to be fun. I don't want to do all that." Okay, well now you're hunting more by chance and by luck than you are by using information, using every sit in the woods as a learning experience and as a tool to move forward the next time.
Right. Absolutely.
But I mean, and I fall into that group. I don't take all those notes. Yeah. I go to have a little more enjoyment. I don't want to take notes. I don't want to be that serious about it. But you know what happens? Matt kills the deer and I don't.
Bingo.
Can't get mad about it.
But I mean, and he spends a lot of time hunting. It's like this. I don't care.
We need to get off Matt.
Well, I'm not on Matt. I mean, anything else, I'm bragging on him. I mean,
right.
He's an amazing hunter, but it's one of those things. Turd. It's like, and it's the same. I love you, Matt, but he and a lot of guys. There's a ton of. And I once was that guy. I don't. At some point, and I've never lost it. I still love to hunt. Don't get me wrong. Hey, and I've done my fair share of ending lives of deer, but man, I just I'm not that mad at them anymore. It's like if I can, but here's my weakness: if I can help somebody, and I know they want to learn and go to, now I'm all about that. I'll jump right in there with them and help them out. But as far as for me, it's like when we get to our age, it's kind of like I've taken mental notes. And as we were saying earlier down there eating dinner, it's like if you see me at my age, if you see me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start getting my stuff
There's a
on,
reason.
you better bet something's going on, and it's probably serious. Because or either I'm completely out of deer meat,
Desperation.
Well, no, this is completely pertaining to deer hunting. Now, turkey hunting's completely different. But yeah, if you see me, especially if it's cold, windy, got something going outside, and I get up, it's there. I have a reason, like Matt would.
That's right.
I'm going to kill a deer, and I'm not being arrogant. I may not kill it.
Right. They can still
But
dress
I
the pants
know
down.
conditions are favorable for me to get up and get my behind off the bed and get out in that cold weather and give it a whirl, because this is when it should happen.
Well, another guy that comes to mind, and a lot of folks in the habitat space know the name Jim Ward. He's a student of deer, like Matt is. Jim's not a biologist, but he is a student
Right.
of deer, and the amount of notes and time he spends and continues to spend observing deer is insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've talked to Jim about hunting about public land, because he does a lot of public land hunting,
Right.
and he's like, Jeremy, he said, I've hunted these areas enough that within reason, I can't guarantee you anything, but I can send you to Missouri to a tree on opening day of rifle season. And he said, you'll shoot a mature buck. And he said, I can send you to so-and-so in Iowa and put you in the tree. And he said, you'll kill a buck. But he's studied those areas so much, and what most of them had in common was they were escape routes for deer from hunters coming in from
Pressure.
other areas.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deer were leaving these pressured areas, and you had to work your end off to get to where those spots were. But those were the escape routes. That's what we're talking about. Study these deer.
Yeah.
Deer escape in certain routes for a reason. If you can figure those out, especially you public land hunters,
Yeah.
it's going to pay you dividends.
It's paid off for me some in the past, but it all comes down when we come full circle. Wherever you are, whatever phase of the rut it is, we're just speaking pertaining to mature deer, you have got to find what they're doing in their comfort zone.
Right.
Because you better believe he's not going outside of that, and especially on public land.
Yeah.
Private maybe not quite as bad, but it's you watch people on YouTube, Dan Infalt, and these guys, that's what they do, and they either hunt escape routes. They know how to figure out you got to think the way the deer are thinking, and that's the only way you're going to be successful in places that are pressured like that. So,
let me ask you guys this: we know that when the does turn it on, that directly changes bucks'
What are we turning on?
estrus.
Okay.
Okay, so when they're hot,
Yep.
bucks tend to kind of they break away from their typical patterns.
Yep.
If
They lose their mind.
They lose their mind and get stupid a little bit. Does a doe's behavior change during estrus at all, or
Absolutely.
is it strictly, hey, I'm still just trying to eat, survive?
No, she
100%.
she's going to put some of those deer through those bucks through their paces. She doesn't just want any buck to breed her.
Yep.
She wants
Looking for the most fit individual.
That's it.
During that time frame.
Yep.
So
And
you're saying that
it's 100% up to her.
like I want you guys to either fight to the death over me, or I want you to chase me around, and whoever's the last man standing gets to.
Yeah, I mean, in a manner of speaking, yes. Yeah. Now, look, a little guy can hang in there, and if he hangs in there like a hair in a biscuit, and there's not a mature buck that comes around, he's going to get to breed.
Yeah.
But chances are, especially in a properly managed place, those guys are going to wear themselves thin real quick, and these more mature bucks are going to stand back, kind of like the 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds at the bar watching the 18-year-olds try to chase these girls around. They're like, yeah, young buck, you just chase it all you want.
Right.
When you get done,
Show's over.
Right. I'm here. This is going to work out for me, not you.
And when she settles down and she makes that decision, and that's what's going to happen, then it's over.
Yeah.
It move on to the next one. And that's the way it works. I mean, and therein lies what's your population dynamics.
Well,
like.
that's the next thing I was going to ask is, okay, so we've talked about a lot of different factors as far as not what influences the rut, but what maybe influences activity, those sort of things. How does whether you own or lease or whatever, a piece of property, does that deer density on that landscape, how does that influence perceived, activity?
Well, it can draw it out. Most common what we see here, especially in Alabama and other southeastern states, and in some of these urban areas all over the country where the antlerless population is out of control, just maybe 2, 3, 4 times the number of deer that should be on the landscape. You're not going to get a concise breeding season. Therefore, you're not going to see that heavy chase because the bucks don't have to work very hard to find a doe that's receptive.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So if you've got too many deer, which many people, I'm not going to say most, but many people in Alabama have too many deer, then you're not going to see as a defined rut as you would if you had a slightly smaller population and a relatively balanced sex ratio and a relatively balanced age class structure.
Yeah.
Well, all of which are very important. But where you don't see those balanced herds, stuff like you're saying, was maybe when we were young, they back in the 90s, and to just kill, they started to kill all the does.
Yeah.
Kill all the, you
can go too far.
We're talking about Alabama, hunting and policy history. Buck a day for 80 days or whatever for 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, I remember growing up and stuff. It's like, and even where I grew up hunting, it's like, man, I found a scrape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
or I saw a track.
what? Let me show me.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
I'm referring just more to just
breeding
rut related sign
activity. Yeah.
Well, back then when there were many more does on the landscape, your buck to doe ratio was so out of whack.
It was terrible.
A buck, he don't have to work hard to find a receptive doe when they start coming into estrus. He don't got time to be out making scrapes and rubbing.
He's not looking.
He's not looking.
Yeah.
He is breeding.
Yeah.
That is what he is doing, and that's when you have more of a balanced sex ratio and you have good age structure. I mean, I've been all over the country as well, Jeremy. You see more sign. You see what we would perceive as a normal rut activity, rut sign, which scrapes and rubs are arguably not necessarily rut sign, but it's what's perceived as the breeding season sign. And and it kind of rolls around. Well, I can talk all day about stuff, but people like the rut in Alabama. Well, don't call deer in Alabama. You ain't gonna have any success.
You certainly can.
I've killed several deer in Alabama calling them, and and I'm not trying to blow my own horn or anything, but it's understanding when and what kind of population you're working with. it absolutely can be very, very successful to do that. But back then, probably not. But yeah, it's one of those things. It all depends on where you are and what's your
and other
deer
hunters
population
around you.
Yeah, well, that too. But
and one thing I said, a while ago about deer losing their mind. Look, deer are still animals that don't want to die. They're not looking to perish. Okay, in the Midwest and hunt all anywhere else, any other state I've been in outside the South, you'll look up and there'll be a buck chasing a doe. He's just going wherever.
Yeah.
I have hunted in the South, and buck be chasing a doe, buck be chasing doe. She hit open country. That son of a gun throws those brakes on, and he just watches her go. He's like,
nope.
Heck no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I might want that.
But do anything for love,
yes.
but I won't do that.
That's it. And
I don't want to die.
yeah. So, hunting pressure can influence
Oh, it does.
deer movement, even still during the rut. They get stupid, but sometimes not that stupid.
Especially your older, more mature deer,
Yes.
because they've experienced something in their lifespan
that says, hey,
tells
don't
me.
do that.
Cousin Jerry was with me last year after that, and he ran out there, and I hadn't seen him since. So I'm not doing that. I'm going back in here.
Well, and I guess that where I get to a place where I don't really know what the answer is or what to tell people when they ask, because we'll get a lot of guys on our social outlets and stuff that comment or DM or whatever, and primarily from the Midwest, and like, well, yeah, because you idiots have a 3-month-long rifle season.
Amen.
But, and it's like,
we wish we didn't.
but
Some of us definitely do.
But like, we've all just sat here and talked about how, again, for most of the state, we'll put it that way. Most of the state, we would all agree, is probably overpopulated.
Somewhat, yeah.
I'm not saying it's crazy, but there's a lot of deer in Alabama. There's a lot of deer in Mississippi. There's a lot of deer in Georgia. Like, there's a lot in the South. You have to do something to encourage the take of some of those to kind of keep that population from becoming insane. So it's like, okay, so you shorten the rifle season and make it 6 weeks instead of 3 months.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lump all these hunters in the same category that live outside the Southeast, because I know you've got some really dense coniferous forests in the north. Michigan, Maine, places like that.
Swamps.
Yeah, stuff that's hard hunting. But, I've hunted all over Illinois, all over Kentucky, all over Kansas, all over Missouri. There's just not the same type cover there as there is here.
That's right.
There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of acres in this state that are not huntable because they're industrial pine plantation. There's 500 to 700 stems per acre, limbs on the tree that start at your waist and up because they're short trees at this point. You can't hunt that other than with a dog. You can throw dogs down and run deer out of it, but you are not going to hunt that any other way. And there's so many acres of that we can't efficiently remove enough deer from the landscape without having the type season structures that we do.
Right.
That said, we are not in the pine belt here where we are in northeast Alabama.
No.
We don't need a 3-month rifle season.
Yeah.
But what's good for the goose,
Yeah. It's,
they can't give, from a state agency standpoint, they can't give something to one region of the state that the other state can't, or the other region of the state can't have, which is malarkey, but that's the way it is.
It's political history.
Yes.
Is all it is.
Yeah,
and it's pleasing people.
Yes.
That's all it is. I mean, well, and that's kind of where I am. As far as in depth management type stuff that I've been a part of. All Alabama and other states and South, they're trying to please one thing, their hunting population.
Yep. Their constituents.
They're trying to hold on to license sales. They're trying to promote license sales. Now, when you get down to a biologist's opinion, it's all a bunch of hogwash. You really want to manage. That's the complete improper way to do it. If you're managing your deer population,
That's right.
you need to look at a property or a management area, and you manage the landscape that's there and the populations that are there pertaining to that piece of property or that hunting club or whatever. It's not, hey, you get $3 and you get $3 and you get $3 and you get $3. They're just doing the best they can.
That's right.
To keep everybody happy and then do what's also right for generally the population of deer. Right. And trust me, I can't imagine, for what it's not easy. I mean,
Well, I mean, a perfect example is something that I think the general public and the general hunting public here that listen to us will understand is, generally speaking, fire on the landscape is good.
Yeah.
Why do we have wildfires out west? We removed fire from the landscape in western states because of pressure from people. Well, we are improperly managing wildlife populations because of pressure from people.
Right. Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But there's really no fix for it.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like
not this day and age anyway.
How else are you going to control a population other than giving people the most efficient way to take them?
Well, and there's an easy answer for that, and that's where if we're not careful, this is headed. There won't be the public ownership of wildlife in this country if we keep going the route we're going.
Right.
It will be owned by elites and the government.
Right.
Just like it is in European countries.
Yeah.
The unbeknownst to the general hunting public, they are their own worst nightmare. They're pushing things so far that eventually it's going to be like, okay, well, we just don't want to deal with you anymore.
Right.
We'll take the resources away from you because 93% of the land in Alabama is privately held. So, they're going to be able to hunt on that type of stuff. But what's also in that number is a huge portion of timber company land that at a certain point, if it wasn't generating enough income to outweigh the BS that they have to go through, they're going to be like, okay, we don't need that mailbox money anymore. We'll just do something else. We either won't lease it or we'll lease it to our employees and they can hunt it, or we'll turn it over to the government.
And that'll
let
be
the
fine
government
because then they
handle
can
how they
hire me and give me 5,000 tags, and I'll be a government sniper and kill all. Because I mean that's essentially what can happen. And it has happened in places.
Well, it has happened.
Absolutely, and I mean, and that's the thing is we'll just give you a scenario everybody can understand. All right, Jeremy Ferguson, you own 10,000 acres. You're greedy.
That's right.
You don't want anybody else to hunt. Guess what you have? 10,000 acres and 3 tags.
Yep, a lot of work.
Now, how are you going to manage?
You can't.
You can't do that. And that's just a really extreme example of.
But it is what we're going through here in the state.
Absolutely.
The only outlet, and I won't throw this in there before we move past this, is landowners like that do have the deer management assistance program they can enroll in.
Yeah.
But
will they?
Yeah, most of them won't because they don't want to deal with the government.
Sure.
And then part of it is, there's too many hoops to jump through other than dealing with the government. Part of it is it's not easy. You've got to do a few things, and you create a lot of work for yourself doing that.
And it harks back, Texas. I like Texas, and I like the way they, you have set amount of acres. You manage it, and it's not all like that, but in general, you manage it on a level that they set you at for this piece of property. It's not that strict, but there are guidelines you have to follow, and you get X amount of tags per your local biologist for that property, and you are responsible to keep up with how many you shot and very basic harvest data, and return that to your local biologist at the end of the year, and you manage for the property. You don't manage for...
That makes too much sense, Cody.
It's hard to grasp. It really is. But something else out there that it is fences, especially in South Texas. It makes it a lot more simple. But there's plenty of places out there that aren't fenced.
Right.
They're on the same program, and it makes it simple.
Well, one thing I want to say about Texas is coming out there hunting with you and being out there with Matt Moore and some other folks that we know out there, and going to deer study meeting for 25 years now, meeting biologists in Texas
all over the country.
Yep. One thing that has always stood out to me about all the folks that work in TWP or
TPWD.
Yeah, TPWD.
Texas
there we
Parks
go.
and Wildlife Department.
Is by and large, those professionals were hook and bullet biologists. They were not. And look, I'm not discounting this, all you biologists that aren't hook and bullet guys, but they are not. We got to save the bats. We got to save the butterflies. The wildlife section, here in Alabama, would be what I'm referring to as that group in Texas, and I don't know if they have their own section or not. But by and large, they were hook and bullet biologists, meaning they were hunters, they were fishermen, they were outdoorsmen. You are seeing that change all over the country, less there, into, instead of conservation-minded, which means wise use, to preservation-minded biologists. And that's why I alluded to a while ago that you're going to lose control and lose the ability to hunt if the general hunting public and non-hunting public doesn't stop pushing on these state agencies, because the people that were hook and bullet biologists like myself, Matt, Bray, Chris Cook, who retired, that was Deer Project leader for many years, Bill Gray, who retired, that was a biologist over the southeastern district. Our state is losing hook and bullet biologists at a rapid rate because they are tired of dealing with politics, and they're tired of dealing with a hunting public that just looks down on everything they do when they're doing good, solid work, but politics is dictating a different answer at the commissioner and director level. Everybody gives Chuck Sykes a really hard time. And I'm not going to say he deserved it, not going to say he didn't. I'm staying out of that. But people don't understand the political pressure at the commissioner director level. They're employees too. They are getting told what they're going to do. They get some input, but they get told what they're going to do. And there are factions in this state, and I'm not going to point out any, that swing a really big stick, have a lot of money, that really impact how our decision-making process goes here in the state. And right now, unfortunately, even some of the guys and gals that weren't necessarily traditional hook and bullet biologists are leaving as well. That's not a look. I'm not beating up on Alabama, but I am. That's not a good look right now from somebody like me who wanted to get out because I didn't enjoy politics, but I wanted to do something different. It just wasn't for me. Right. But some of these people, it's for them. They want to do it, and they're finding it so hard to feel good about the job they're doing because they're just berated every which way they turn by the public who really doesn't understand jack about wildlife management.
Yeah, and it's very, very easy to get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like I say, I've been,
and I got on a soapbox there.
Yeah,
but some of you folks out there deserve it.
You and I understand it, and I mean more than anybody, and my heart goes out to those people that deal with it. But you know, you got to understand both sides of the spectrum. I understand a lot of the hunting public.
Oh, absolutely.
Not the
TV show.
YouTube guys just put that out there, but you know, it's so hard to please everybody.
You can't do it.
And man, and that's the thing, you know, and like you said, it's so political, and you and I know the things, and decisions are being made for wildlife that are completely bogus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and that's everywhere. That's not just Alabama.
No, but it's not.
It is everywhere.
But the thing is nobody can get everything they want.
No.
And that's the bottom line. A lot of these historical politics, you know, and the decisions that are made, they're actually pretty cool. In a way, it keeps everybody happy.
Yeah.
But now, is that what's right for the resource?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
We know
that's
we know that.
My point.
A lot of other people know that or do what we do, you know. But if it was just the perfect world, you know, you and I'd go jump down there and help them saddle up, and we'd all get together and call the buddies we got in Texas and be like, "Hey, man, we're gonna get some money." Government funded, whatever. We're going to go out here and jump on everybody's property, and we're going to tell you, all right, here's what we think here and there, and we're going to give everybody so many tags for this, and this is what you need to do.
Well,
and then here again, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, but great.
We're going to get told how wrong we are by all the public out there that are landowners and stuff, and it's just like, man.
That's a great segue because I'm going to share something that you may know because I may have talked to you about it in confidence back then when I was still employed with the department, but you don't know and the general public doesn't know, is we actually put forth a plan to do just exactly that, to almost mirror Texas Parks and Wildlife, how they manage. And we had buy-in from top DCNR brass, okay? Mm. I'll leave it at that. But we couldn't get it past there. And that, you know, that's a political decision. That's not a science-based position. Mm. We wanted to put forth a plan through DMAP that would allow landowners to manage their land base that they had control of.
Yeah.
And that was you had to have a certain number of acres to be in DMAP because let's face it, if you've got 40 acres, you're not managing anything.
Sure.
Yes, you can impact your habitat, and you should do everything you can for wildlife, but you're not managing a population. Mm-hmm. Once you reach a certain number of acres, you are managing a population. But we did have a caveat in there to where you could form cooperatives to reach that.
I was about to interject and say that, and I mean, but I'm not going to knock on, but I am going to knock on my fellow brethren here in the state of Alabama. And I love you all. I am of that population. I came up amongst it, and I still am, I guess. People have a hard time in the Southeast, especially in our state, understanding what cooperative is and what it's the J word. They're so jealous and so worried about what they're going to miss out, and I'm not dealing with him, because of this. This is the worst place in the country. I've been all over the country like you, hunting, meeting people, working. Southeast is the worst place in the world.
Yep. Cooperatives work.
They work.
I can challenge anybody out there
Yes.
that can put together 2, 3, 4, 5,000 acres, and they give us 5 years. We will turn their place into something that they really don't believe is possible.
Yeah, but you have to do what
we
ask you to do.
You have to do what we ask.
But that's the thing in Alabama. People cannot see past their own greed a lot of the times because of their own their own convictions, right? And that's what makes it so hard here. And then you talk to a guy from Ohio.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And they're like, "Hey, man, we got a cooperative.
Yeah.
You know, I
We
got
got
40 acres.
11,000
He's got
acres.
150,
Yes.
and they're just like, well, we get $1 a year.
Yes,
And
that's what I was about to say.
we've got all this land put together. We manage it. And, well, we've been managing it for 15 years now. We got so many mature bucks. You want to come hunt with us?
Yes. I
Yeah,
was
right.
about to say,
They all get
Al.
theirs, and then they can kill another
Yeah,
one.
was
I mean,
about
and
to
they're
say,
killing
Al-
200-inch deer, and they're like, "Hey, man, we got them running out of our ears up here. You're
Yes.
welcome to come hunt with us
'Cause-
anytime." And I'm like,
Yep.
"What?" You know, so if you
Al
can do that down
Temechko,
here,
Yeah.
I mean, Al, that's got vitalized. I've heard him talk about that because
Yeah.
it's a $1 state.
Yep.
Hey, you tag out, just say opening weekend or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like, all right, well, there's obviously more bucks than that
Yeah.
on your landscape.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? Just sit here and go, nobody can hunt my property.
Right.
You know, it's like,
And believe it or not,
hey, man,
there-
I've got a good shooter over here. Bring your nephew over here. Let's see if you
Right.
can get it. It's like, but is that going to happen here?
Yeah.
No.
Michigan,
Never, dude.
some of the
Never.
northern states, they're still loving and enjoying hunting the way we probably did when people started
Yeah.
first hunting. It's all about I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, it's still a camaraderie. It has become more of a camaraderie thing
right
up there.
right.
now
It's not a
because
pissing
of that.
match like it is here, and and it's just one of those the deals.
Instead of building cooperatives, we're building fences.
Yes, and that's with me, and I guess that's one of the things that sticks in my craw about hunting as a career as a whole. At some point, it just wears you out. The
Yep.
politics,
Yep.
the greed, and it's just like, man,
You got to remind people
I grew up.
it's a deer.
Yeah, I grew up, and I remember until I was in my teens, just think, man, if I could ever just kill a deer, man, that I really could put on the wall, I'd be so happy. I never in a million years dreamed that I'd get to go and see the stuff and kill the type of deer that I've been blessed to in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's not to be knocking on anybody else. And it's like, well, I do this and my neighbor's an idiot. Well, people are going to have to learn to meet in the middle. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to learn that that's not the only deer in the woods. And if you managed your properties together, you might have an abundance of deer and good bucks to where it's like, and that's exactly why things are the way they are. And I'm just not say up north, but in the places we're talking about.
That's right.
It's like, hey, man, there's good people all over this country and this
Absolutely.
world that are generous, good, fine folks. And hey, man, for them to come up, you go up there, kill a 240-inch deer, man, they'd be elated. They wouldn't care because they all get to kill good deer. Mm-hmm. And then and I don't know what they enjoy it still up there. A lot of them do. In contrast to down here, it's such I'm going to say it again, a pissing match. Oh. And it's just like, man, I don't get it. You've got to learn to.
Some of the farmers up there, they want you to kill every deer you
Yeah,
see.
you got to
they
learn
view it as a nuisance
to enjoy hunting again.
Yeah. And look, we're a perfect example. We do have a co-op, over there where we hunt.
Right.
With Matt. We got a handful of folks that encompass a lot of acres, and that's why we grow the kind of deer we do. We also have, I've referenced them a time or two, but probably a dozen times. But we do have one club that's in there that they don't abide by that. Do they hurt us? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But we've got so much acreage under control now that they're not killing us. We still have the opportunity, all of us that hunt together have an opportunity to kill a solid deer. A good, mature Alabama buck, whether that scores 118 or 158, and they've been all in between there, okay? So we're looking at maturity, not necessarily what's on his head. Do we want to kill a 140-inch deer in Alabama? Yeah, absolutely. Have we? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do we every year? Generally, but not absolutely. Yeah. Okay. One of us generally does. Generally, Matt.
By generally, I mean,
Matt.
At least he always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really wish that I had the ability to throw out some kind of challenge to somebody that really couldn't get along with their neighbors and encompass 5,000 acres in 5 years and show them what they could do if they worked together.
Well, it ain't got to be that much, though.
No, but if you had that,
if you had
5,000,
unbelievable.
And I say that because I took a place. I'm not going to say I took a place. I don't imagine Brady Cox listens to anything that we do, but we had a place in. I'll just give you a county, St. Clair County, Alabama. That's all I'm going to tell you. That was 7,047 acres. It was under one ownership. It had been hunted to absolute death by dog hunters for years.
Yeah, not
a problem. I'm not knocking them. No, not at all. But that's how it had been hunted. Well, the company that owned the land did away with dog hunting from an insurance standpoint. Okay, it wasn't personal.
They had some accidents.
Yes, because the company, just from an insurance standpoint, would not allow dog hunting anymore because of some liability issues that popped up associated with it. We took that property, built it up after doing some camera surveys, determining a rough population estimate. We didn't hunt it at all for 3 years. They turned us loose and let Brady handle the forestry, me handle the wildlife, and all we did is what we felt was right for the wildlife on that place. In 5 years, 3 years of no hunting, 2 years of limited hunting, our average buck killed, and this is average, so we had some below, some above. That's what average means, guys. But our average 4-year-old buck weighed in excess of 225 and scored in excess of 130.
Yeah. Phew. I seen that.
Yep. And by the way, since then, it's not managed to that extent now. It was for a few years, but just shortly after we sold, that company did. They sold all their acreages in North Alabama. There was 2 deer that hovered right around Boone and Crockett that were killed off that place. And a neighboring piece of property, which deer, was grown on that place, this was a 100-acre parcel right next to it, killed a deer a little over 200 inches.
Phew. Yeah. It can be done.
It can be done here. Yeah. People just don't have the dadgum discipline
and
to
the
make
resources.
And some of it's resources. A lot of it's discipline.
No, it's discipline and resources by not necessarily money. I mean, they don't have the resources by lack of management.
Yep.
You have to have resources.
Yep. Because we didn't – look, it was 7,000 acres, and you hear a lot about how many acres you need to have in food plots. We had 102 acres on 7,000 acres. Y'all do that math. That's not a high percentage, okay? And we were able to produce deer like that, but we were doing it through managing the native habitat. Yeah. We were thinning timber and we were burning.
Right.
And we were giving deer birthdays.
Yep.
It was industrial timberland. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was just
that was
well
reason
managed.
For lack of acreage on food plots.
Yeah.
Because
it was
timber property. And that's therein lies a lot of issues with the management of hunting clubs and things in the state of Alabama. It's timber property.
But we went way down that rabbit hole. But politics got us there. But I got into that politics side of it, to say that the biologists that were there and still are always advocating for proper management. So the general hunting public, I don't want to say the hunting public again,
Yeah.
the general hunting public need to back off of the field staff a little bit and quit pointing fingers at them and start talking to their representatives.
Yeah. I concur.
Concur.
I concur.
Yeah, I mean we're already like an hour and a half already. Woohoo! Yeah. So, but I mean, I did want to just spend a little time talking on rut specifics down here because the rut map is so crazy and there's all kind of wives' tales and grandpa's old sayings and stuff like that. So hopefully shed some light on that. I know we
Shed light on other things.
on other things too. So that was free. Y'all get that
Yep.
one free. That's not the sermon. You got that part.
So we
for free.
apologize.
But yeah, so this first one for 2026, we got some really cool stuff planned. Thank you guys
It won't be
for
long.
No, it won't be. Hopefully, matter of fact, I guess by the time that this episode rolls out, it will be a couple weeks before we roll out our thing we've been working on for what seems like eternity. But hopefully
We got Marcel painted. That's what we're going to show y'all.
Yeah, Marcel, baby. But as always, please like, share, subscribe, follow, all the things. Tell a hunting buddy about us. We'd appreciate it. If you know somebody looking for land, we got like 3 land professionals in the room that they're on the team that are all tut land guys. And I'm sure if they can't help you, they figure out some way that somebody else can or whatever. Get it figured out.
And got tut land folks, all over now.
That's right.
We've already introduced Zach.
Yep, shout
a
out
time
Zach.
or two. Zach up in Tennessee is licensed with us now. Has been for a few months. We've expanded some of our footprint as far as us wildlife folks into some other states also that are tut land agents. So
That's right.
more to come.
Yep. And so, Happy New Year. And
Absolutely.
get
Yes,
out
sir.
there. It's the rut, y'all.
Kill a
It's
bigot.
getting out there and just go smack one.
Don't be afraid to call them
So
What do you want us to call them?
dead.
dear us.
Okay. Dira on the wall.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.
Out.
Bye.